The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. Glory to you, O Lord. On leaving the synagogue, Jesus entered the house of Simon and Andrew with James and John. Simon's mother-in-law lay sick with a fever. They immediately told him about her. He approached, grasped her hand, and helped her up. Then the fever left her, and she waited on them. When it was evening, after sunset, they brought to him all who were ill or possessed by demons. The whole town was gathered at the door. He cured many who were sick with various diseases, and he drove out many demons, not permitting them to speak because they knew him. Rising very early before dawn, he left and went off to a deserted place where he prayed. Simon and those who were with him pursued him, and on finding him said, "Everyone is looking for you." He told them, "Let us go on to the nearby villages, that I may preach there also. For this purpose have I come." So he went into their synagogues, preaching and driving out demons throughout the whole of Galilee. The Gospel of the Lord. Yeah, I told you yesterday God was on the move. This is rapid fire. Jesus' ministry kind of rapid fire, and have to make the comment that of course we've just seen him in the synagogue teaching as one with authority. He's casting out demons, and then we see. Okay, no comment. Yeah, casting out demons. Okay. He's casting out demons, and then he's here, and then he leaves the synagogue. Simon's mother-in-law is there. The fever raises her up, and the rest. And when it was evening after sunset, they brought him those possessed by demons. They're bringing him the sick, various diseases, driving out demons, not permitting them to speak. Rising very early before dawn is the next. So this is like one day. That's like one day's worth. My gosh, that's overwhelming. But here he is. Look. Is Jesus overwhelmed? In some ways, yes, in the way that we experience being overwhelmed. In some ways, no, right? Because very often I think our being overwhelmed is sign of our own internal disunity, right? So we're not sure where we should go or what we should do. But Jesus doesn't have that. He is perhaps even taken on that baggage in his flesh, but he's not living the kind of constant internal conflict that many of us, if we don't have it, it's probably because we've done a lot of work to get beyond it. But it's still there as something of a resonance, and it's still there as something of a weight that we carry around with us. So I don't think Jesus has that, but we do. I think the fact that Jesus is off. Rising very early before dawn, going to a deserted place and praying there suggests that, I don't know, I want to say all these pieces fit together, right? It's not as though it's not as though he's not wearied by the day's effort, by the day's work. Right? He might not have some of the internal conflicts that we experience, but still, he's perhaps not facing not having to overcome the conflict from within, but overcoming conflict on the outside. I think is also significant. Yeah, and I'm not. I don't want to venture too far into what I would consider to be really quite speculative. But Jesus, having taken our flesh and the burden of our flesh, even if he is moving with real undivided heart through his work, through his day, and the rest, in his mission, there's still this kind of weariness of the flesh, or the flesh's incapacity to respond to the other. And again, I'm not trying to create any kind of real separation there, except that this is part of the redemption that is accomplished from within. And we see even the letter to the Hebrews, which we read from in the first reading, pointing to that reality, right? It begins, since the children share in blood and flesh, Jesus likewise shared in them, that through death he might destroy the one who has the power of death, that is the devil. So Jesus is winning all these little victories. I mean, for us, this is probably the way that we ought to think of our lives. Like, can I fight this little battle today? Or even, can I fight the little battle of today? Like, can I persevere in charity here and now? Right? I mean, I know that I make that hard for you. Not here. Okay. Can I, moment to moment, can I persevere? Can I give myself to the battle of charity now? Yeah, can I persevere there now? And then as I go, can my day be part and parcel of that victory that Jesus has won over the forces of sin and death that would seek to contain the advances made by charity and seek to continue to enslave human hearts and lives, right? So, but it comes down to my doing it piece by piece, and we know that Jesus also is doing it piece by piece, in him and through him, right? He's doing it piece by piece. He's making these minor advances as he goes, and this is kind of anticipatory of the fight that he's going to face at the end of his life. Right, where here he achieves the victory of self-giving love. Right, here he achieves the victory of charity that then we get to we now are participating in as a result of his doing it, and his then giving us the capacity, breathing his own Spirit into us so that we could follow him on that way. This is one of the reasons why. I'll revisit it again just because I want to get in more trouble. Is why I said earlier that the Christian life is easy because he's done it. He's done all the work. Now, okay, look, it's easy in the way that Jesus's life is easy, right? So like, okay, maybe not so. Maybe slow down there, Father. Maybe not so easy. Like it's a full life. And again, it's this step by step, the giving all in the cause of love, capital L, right? Giving all in the cause of God, and persevering with the strength that he gives me to continue to what? To trust and follow him. Yeah, and that's it. This is the point. To trust and follow. If we trust and follow him in all things, we're already doing everything. There actually is nothing more for us to do. Yeah, so, and as I say that, I hear, well, this is, of course, why we need the healing of the Savior. This is why we need the healing that Jesus is bringing to the crowds, is because we're not totally wound up on the fact that our whole life is about trusting and following Jesus. We're going to say, yeah, I'm going to trust and follow Jesus, but also, I wouldn't mind if the Giants won the Super Bowl. I wouldn't mind if, I struck it rich one day. I think the jackpot's over $1 billion. I mean, it had to come up. I'm not playing. I've given up. I figured that I don't even, okay, my reasoning was I need to give God a chance to give me $1 billion. But just by waking up this morning, getting out of bed, I give God a chance to give me $1 billion. He has all the money anyway, so if he wants to give me $1 billion, I don't even need to buy a ticket for it. Unless he tells me to, of course, then I'm open, Lord. Tell me what it is. Tell me what it is I need to. But you see, look, you can tell. I need healing. Right? And any of us who want to strike it rich, we need healing because we start to think that, my life has other things. I mean, look, there are other things, but they have to be aligned with trusting and following Jesus. So if anything at all we find to be a drain on our energy, this is a place where we might want to go and do some work with Jesus. This is a place that we might want to go in prayer because something's not connecting for us at that point, right? We've either got the wrong focus, which, can I say, usually is what's going on, or I've been called into the fight there. I've been called into the battle of charity there. And Jesus wants me to persevere there, but I'm kind of like not totally committed to it. And I'm not totally committed to it because perhaps I don't see how it's going to be resolved. I don't see how my efforting here is going to make a difference. Right? So, but this is again what's so remarkable about and what we recognize is going on in Jesus as he finds a secluded place to pray. And then the great thing is the very next line we hear Peter and those with him. Right? So Peter and those the apostles who recognize that Jesus is their life. He's the center of their life. And so Peter and those with him go to Jesus in the secluded place. And this is again part and parcel of the new Israel movement, or the healing, restorative movement of the church that Jesus is himself inaugurating and then implementing. He's drawing them to him so that they could pray together. I nearly said pray well. We went through it yesterday, right? Yes, of course, so they could pray well together. Jesus at the center, he's the focal point of our hearts and lives. We can pray well. Yeah, but again, I don't want to make praying well an excuse for you to not pray. If you pray not well, then pray not well. But pray. The work is not going to be done in us and through us unless we are drawing on the life of Christ. We're drawing the life of Christ when we come before him and we do this heart-to-heart work. Yeah, what a great privilege we have, a great opportunity we have. People pay for this, and probably we still do need to pay for it because we're all a mess, right? But we go heart to heart with God, and we're caught up in his life. This is what gives us strength. This is what gives us consolation. This is what restores us to integrity. This is what gives us any kind of feel for the direction that he wants us to take, is that we are in communion with him. And then it's also, what empowers us to be about his work is that he's breathing his Spirit into us. But we got to give him, it's like God wants to give us everything, right? But we have to give him an opportunity to give us everything. We have to give him the space and the time that he needs to do it. Right, and that's what we're doing. And now I'm being an obstacle to it. So anyway, it's ours. Jesus is, again, look, this is a maelstrom, right? This is a whirlwind. Jesus is right at the center. Everything's okay. There's a whole mess of activity, and from the outside you look at it, and go, whoa, this is overwhelming and chaotic and whatever. But as soon as you're by Jesus' side, it might be that way, but the storm is raging around you, and you have the quiet confidence that you're exactly where you need to be. And you have to persevere there with the strength of being attached to him. So as long as we don't let go of him, then we're already doing it all. And I think that's our consolation this day, but it's ours again to come to make sure that our hearts and our minds are trained on him, they're focused on him. We are receiving everything from him, and we now are making also the return of our hearts and our lives to him.